Welcome back. Randy Buehler, Brian David Marshall, getting ready for the Pro Tour Berlin Championship match. Luis Scott Vargas will be sitting on one side of the table, the former American national champion, LSV, legendary on Magic Online, legendary on the Pro Tour. This is one of the top players in the game. He and his super team have been in Berlin for a couple of weeks. They found the Elf deck. They found the deck they thought would be the best deck in the format. Sitting on the other side of the table, Matai Zadelkai, a member of, not quite so heralded the super team, but some awesome Magic talent. Sebastian Tyler, Martin Yuza. These guys knew exactly what they were doing. They also found the Elf deck. The thing that set Zadelkai apart, the thing that I think has got Zadelkai his ticket into the finals over some of his more heralded teammates, is he knew that everybody else was going to find a deck too. He pegged this format better than most of the other big teams, better than his teammates, quite frankly. His sideboard has Goblin Sharpshooter. His sideboard has Aethersworn Canonist. His sideboard has Orzhov Pontiff. The three of those is the Mirror Match package. Like, he wanted to be able to beat the Elf deck. He suspected, I'm going to go deep in this tournament, and so are all of the other Elf decks, and I'm going to be ready. And you know what? His sideboard is more ready for the Mirror Match than anybody else in this top 8.
It's true. On the other side of the table, Luis Scott Vargas said, you know what? I know about the Elf deck too, but I'm not going to putz around with Hive Masters. I'm not going to
Essence Warden, means life.
I'm just going to be faster than everybody else. I'm just going to build this lean, clean, mean machine and make my way through this tournament.
And the other thing LSV has going for him, I mean, the faster version of the deck, he's playing with Elves of Deep Shadow, which is, he's the only one in the top 8 playing Elves of Deep Shadow, but the 4 of them, he's got black mana in his main deck, and that allows him to run Thoughtseize after sideboarding.
He's got 10 black sources if you include the Deadly Chalices and the Overgrown too.
Right, which is, there's no black on the other side of the table. The Zadelkai version of the deck goes into white, which doesn't do a lot, but it does allow it to hardcast Canonist, which we saw come up in the semifinal match, and there's a couple other white cards that can, in theory, be hardcast thanks to that white card.
It also lets him just... a lot of the work comes off of his Horizon Canopy, lets him cycle deeper into his deck. Thoughtseize, I think, is going to be a very big card in this matchup.
It's true.
I've heard some people say that he might not bring this card in if he's on the play.
That's the game.
Court of Calling's a pretty big card here.
All right, looks like our players are shuffled up. They are ready. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Pro Tour Berlin's championship match. Welcome to Pro Tour Berlin. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are ready for the championship match. This Pro Tour is going to be remembered for the Elf combo deck. No question about that. The thing we've got left to settle is which version. Luis Scott Vargas, the American player, the American superstar, has the quickest version of the Elf deck. He is all in on the combo. He's got more of the fast mana elves. He's got Grape Shot. He can win blisteringly fast. Sitting across from him on the other side of the table is Matai Zadelkai from the Slovak Republic. The first real marquee result on his resume. He may not be the most heralded guy in his top 8, but he called this field better than anybody else. He's running the version with Hive Master and Court of Calling, and his sideboard has an anti-mirror match package, Aethersworn Canonist, Orzhov Pontiff, and Goblin Sharpshooter. Hive Master gives him a bunch of insects. Court of Calling lets him bring those silver bullets into play. Will it be his version that wins the Pro Tour?
And there we see an Essence Warden right out of the gate for him.
We are about to find out. Scott Vargas leads with Heritage Druid, Essence Warden from Zadelkai. Essence Warden is a card Scott Vargas doesn't even run, right?
He doesn't. He said in his profile, we decided Hive Master and Essence Warden were too slow, and went all in with 4 Summoners Pact and 3 Weird Harvest.
Yes, Weird Harvest is another card that Scott Vargas' version has that pretty much they're the only team that concluded that was the way to build the elf deck.
Yeah, I didn't see any. I saw one other version that had Ad Nauseam, where these guys had Weird Harvest. But for the most part, almost every other deck I saw had the Court of Calling back.
Yeah, the dominant version of the deck was Hive Master, Court of Calling. But the super team, they came to Berlin a couple of weeks ago. Scott Vargas and his longtime playtest partner, Paul Cheon. Pat Chapin was on that team. You know, Manuel Boucher really stitched it together as the networker, and then the Ruels and the Guillaumes. So, Guillaume Wafatapa, Guillaume Matignon, Olivier Ruel, Antoine Ruel, just a ton of talent. They've been in Berlin, huddled up. This is the deck they came out with, and Luis Scott Vargas is one match away from that title really cementing his status as a superstar and having that team be remembered forever as having broken the format.
Sure. This is, I mean, people refer to Pro Tour Rome as Pro Tour Academy.
Yes.
Will this be remembered as Pro Tour Elves?
Absolutely. 6 decks in the top 8 is pretty much unprecedented. All 4 of the semifinalists were playing variants on the same elf combo deck. It's not clear what will happen to Extended once everybody knows about this deck. Once it has a target on its forehead, a lot of people think, yeah, you can beat it if you know you need to, and now everybody knows they need to, but these guys are still playing the deck list they turned in Friday morning, and Luis Scott Vargas has basically no specific technology for the mirror match. He'll be boarding in Thoughtseize and hoping that's good enough. So far it has been. He won the mirror match in the semis. 2 turns into this game, we see Heritage Druid from Zadokai. Adds that on top of Essence Warden. Llanowar Elf comes down as well.
3 mana.
This should be a Visionary.
1 mana.
Elvish Visionary draws a card. Putting a nice board position together, but no card advantage engine yet. Hive Master.
25.
I'm sorry, Symbiote.
It looks like he's holding a Glimpse.
Go.
Interesting. He's holding a Glimpse and he's holding a Court of Calling. So he's going to go for it next turn, almost certainly.
Now
Symbiote,
Probably pick up the Hive Master, the Visionary at the end of the turn.
yes. That should be enough to go off to the races. The question is, can LSV win now? LSV's got...
He's obviously trying.
Yeah, I think he can sense he needs to go for it. Goes and gets a second Nettle Sentinel. Those combined with the Heritage Druid that's in play, I mean, pretty much he's got the mana he needs to cast every spell in his deck.
Does he have the Glimpse, though?
Yes, he needs to go Glimpse and then start drawing.
I need to keep track of spells. Could you do that? Yeah, no problem. I've played 2.
I don't think he would have Summoner Packed it there if he did not have the Glimpse.
3 green.
There's 3 mana.
Elves on top. Yep. Third spell.
There's Elves of Deep Shadow. Must not have a Glimpse, right?
Obviously not,
Elves
no.
on top. Yep. 4 spells.
Can he build up to Regal Force here?
7 mana.
7 mana.
On top.
Another Elves of Deep Shadow. He's got a ton of mana. Is he building up the Summoner's Pact for
He
Regal
is.
Force?
He
That's
is.
about the only thing that makes sense, right?
Yes, he is.
9 mana. Yep. Let's go to 8 mana on top.
3 more mana. Yes, Summoner's
Stay
Pact.
at 9 mana. That doesn't cost anything.
Wow.
Okay. So
No Glimpse. Just Heritage Druid, double Nettle Sentinel. He's got 9 mana floating. This should work.
He's going to draw 7 cards.
He's going to draw 7 cards. 7's a lot. Like the average combo deck, draw 7. That was the number, right?
It's like a memory jar.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Regal Force, he's going to have 3 mana floating and an untapped Nettle Sentinel. Sorry, 2 mana floating and an untapped Nettle Sentinel.
9 mana floating?
Was I right first? 3. 3 and a couple Sentinels.
I cast it. It's another spell.
Yep.
Yeah. Draw 7? Yeah, that's another 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see a bunch of creatures. Did not see a glimpse.
Packed.
What are you summoners packed for here?
So,
Pack for Visionary.
for my life.
Try to get Visionary Symbiote action going on? Does indeed pack for Visionary. That's 3 summoners packed, by the way. He has to win now or he's dead. He cannot... Well, God, he actually maybe can pay for them next turn? It's tricky. He's built up a 12-mana debt. Couple Visionaries, though.
Pay 6.
1 minute.
Yet another Nettle Sentinel.
4.
4 mana. Now he's turning a profit on mana even with a Visionary.
5. Go to 3 mana. Another one on top. 11. Draw.
Another Visionary.
6. Go to 5 mana.
5 mana.
Symbiote on top. 12.
Yep, there's the Symbiote. That will allow him to
Use
pick
the
up a
symbiote.
Visionary.
Is what I'm trying to think here.
Returning him on top Paradigm. Yep, sure.
There's no way to recurse the Regal Force, right?
6
He's
mana.
pretty much must find Glimpse.
On top. Yep, 13.
There it is! Glimpse of Nature.
Go to 8. Glimpse on top.
14 minus 4 for my life.
Now the Glimpse is in effect.
Remember, he's still fighting through an Essence Warden here.
8. Go to 11.
Oh, sure.
Go to 10.
I don't think one Essence Warden is good enough to stop him.
15.
Another Summoner's Pact.
10 right now. Go to 13. Go to 12 on top.
Yep.
House of Deep Shadow.
16. Draw.
So he's just drawing. So what is he drawing for? He's drawing for Grave Shot, obviously. He
15,
can't.
go to 14.
He has 1 card in his deck, which allows him to deal damage and win the game.
Draw.
Depending on the life total versus the storm count, he might need to do that twice.
17. Go to
You
16.
wouldn't mind getting another Glimpse in here.
No, I think he basically needs to draw his whole deck because he needs the Grave Shot and he
And
needs
Witness it
Eternal
back.
Witness.
Go to 18. Birdstar on top.
I mean, each spell that he plays is +1 to the Grave Shot, but it's also +1 to Zadokai's life total because of the Essence Ward.
21.
So pretty much he's going to have to Eternal Witness to win this game.
Heritage Druid on top.
Yep. 20.
Draw.
Yep.
And that's what he's been talking about all weekend.
Heritage Druid on top.
Yep. 21.
Draw.
There's another Glimpse.
25. Yep. Go to 24.
Yep.
Glimpse on top.
Yep.
Yep. That's 22.
Glimpse number 2, so
Ah,
it was pretty tight there.
20 to spell.
LSV Regal Force for 7 came up with nothing but a couple of Visionaries for card drawing.
27.
Visionary, Symbiote to Visionary.
Sure.
Desperate, finally came up with the Glimpse. Now all of his other creatures would draw cards. All 4 Nettle Sentinels means he's making mana every trip through the loop.
9. Go to 27.
And double Glints, since about 50% of his deck is creatures, he's definitely an odds-on favorite to keep going and draw the deck. He's got the Grape Shot now, but I don't think it's lethal because of the Essence Ward.
He's just got to find that.
He's got to find Eternal Witness. Oh, but he's got Summoner's Pact for Eternal Witness, so that should do it, right?
Minus.
What life total did Zadokai get up to?
Doesn't really matter since almost everything
Great
was.
shot.
Eternal Witness Grape Shot. That will do it.
If you've gained 1 previous spell, you're taking now 2 for every spell.
The second set of Storm is.
Yep, the second set of Storm gets the job done, and Luis Scott Vargas takes a 1-0 lead.
It wasn't quite. Yeah.
Smash!
There's Guillaume Montignon doing a silly little, a dirty dance, actually. A dirty dance.
Got the whole super team assembled, watching their boy, Luis Scott Vargas, trying to win the Pro Tour, and he is now up a game. Zadokai does get the advantage in sideboarding, though. I mean, that's the biggest difference between these lists. I mean, you could argue the main deck. It's probably a matter of taste in the main deck, right? Luis Scott Vargas, his team, his deck, a little bit faster. It's got an extra mana elf. It doesn't muck around with Hive Masters and Essence Wardens. So it's vulnerable. If the opponent does get Hive Master Essence Warden going, it becomes hard to win on damage. Like, imagine if Zadokai had a Hive Master in place such that every spell was not just a life, but also a creature, which is another life.
Right, 2 life.
Suddenly, every spell is 2 life rather than 1. That could potentially have been a problem. But Luis just says, I'm going to go off before you can get that stuff together. Right?
No Hive Master, no problem.
This format is not fast enough for that. Hive Master is definitely the key. It becomes even more key after sideboarding.
Hive
because
Master's even more tricky just because the Hive
It sets
Master
up Quarter Calling.
suddenly lets you cast your Quarter Calling.
Right, so now that we go to sideboarding, like I was saying, game 1, you could argue the decks have strengths and weaknesses. One of them's a little faster, one of them's a little more resilient. You know, one of them can put the game out of reach, the other one can win faster. I can imagine an argument that it's a fair fight. After sideboarding, however, the edge on paper, I think swings to Zadokai.
Sure.
His ability to successfully predict what would matter at the end of this tournament means he's got a package of silver bullets for the mirror match. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different silver bullets. He can hard cast them. He can Court of Calling them up. Those cards are his path to victory. He predicted there'd be elf against elf when it mattered deep in the tournament. And now he sits in the finals to find out if the sideboard's going to carry him through.
And Thoughtseize is coming in for sure here for Luis Scott Vargas on the draw. He needs to slow him down. He needs to keep him off that Hive Master. He needs to see if he can strip away that Court of Calling early on.
Yeah, Thoughtseize is a perfectly serviceable answer. Right? Thoughtseize is a perfectly serviceable answer. Luis could easily come out and just, knock the cord out of Zadokai's hand, knock the hate, whatever creature he's drawn out of Zadokai's hand. It's a pretty flexible, pretty powerful card. You can start to see, we're supposed to take the deck in the black direction to set up Thoughtseize. We're supposed to take it in the white direction to set up, Hardcast Canonist. We saw Zadokai win the semifinals largely on the strength of Canonist in the last game. Which he hardcast, right? Because he's got the white mana in his deck.
Interestingly, talking to Luis earlier today, he said he thought the most powerful card in his sideboard, which is not going to be brought in this matchup, was Umezawa's Jitte.
Yep.
Which is a card that he felt like maybe a lot of people overlooked.
It's true.
From the banning of Sensei's Divining Top.
Right.
It was just a card that was, hey, I've got a 2 on top of my deck. It's pretty easy for me to counter your Jitte. The games had become much more controlling. And the card maybe had lost a little bit of its luster and extended.
It's fair.
He gave a lot of credit to that card getting him this far in the tournament.
No, it has been impressive watching LSD. He finds more ways to win with this deck. Like, he's just, the way he's capable of just transforming into a beatdown strategy, very impressive. Zadokai does not seem happy, and he is going to go down to 6.
Just a few loud ones.
Yeah, sounds like the sideboarding has gone pretty much as we expected. 4 Thoughtseize for LSD. 3 creature haters for Zadokai.
Creature and combo haters.
Creature hate cards.
Yeah. It's been really amazing to me watching the Canonist over the course of this top 8. What an impact it has on this matchup. Oh, I'm going to get out to an early lead, or I have a Hive Master and you do not. And so I'm making 2 guys a turn. You can make 1 guy a turn.
Right. I watched a fair amount of this tournament over the course of the Swiss, but, watching this top 8, I feel like I watched the deck win in 2 ways I just hadn't really seen before.
Sure.
LSD with the, Jitte beatdown plan, I don't even have a combo. Worked in the quarterfinals against Kenny Oberg. And then Zadokai just icing the game with Canonist, getting out to a big advantage, icing the game.
Well, think about watching the Thaler-Yuza match, where Thaler wins 2 games,
Did the same
racketing he goes, I'm going to win with a 200 power dragon, and I'm going to win with a Brain Freeze.
Yeah. We are off to the races. Turn 1 Llanowar Elf from Zadokai. Luis shows a Llanowar Elf so he can get his Guiltleaf Palace into play untapped, but then he uses it for Thoughtseize. Visionary, Heritage Druid, Essence Warden, and a Forest. Zadokai was forced to mulligan. His 6-card hand is perfectly serviceable, but it's 4 dudes, right? No card drawings, no real action. It's funny. LSD pretty much has to take the Essence Warden there. If he had a different combo engine, I think the Essence Warden might not have mattered, but the way his deck is set up with Grapeshot, it's, too many Essence Warden and Hive Masters, and suddenly he can't win. So on the one hand, he's happy to see a mediocre draw. Well, okay, there comes Symbiote
Return.
off the top. Suddenly, Visionary is a little more exciting than it was before. Luis's hand has a bunch of Llanowar Elves, and there's Birchlore Ranger, and oh, there's another Thoughtseize. Bye-bye, Visionary.
Take 2 cards from you.
Zadokai has essentially had his card drawing engine stripped. I wonder, was he right to return Visionary main phase? Like, he wanted to use the Symbiote. He untapped the Elf in order to get that Heritage Druid into play, but as a result, Visionary went in his hand where it was vulnerable to Thoughtseize, rather than being on the table where it's basically no way for Luis to bust up the card drawing.
Right.
I think that's probably a mistake. Really subtle one, but
Well, maybe he felt like he cleared a Thoughtseize, he wasn't likely to have a second one, and he just wanted to get 2 uses out of his Symbiote.
he wasn't going to use it again. But what he got was he got Heritage Druid in play. There's Glimpse.
And the super team knows what that means.
There's Glimpse. Luis has seen his opponent's hand. He believes the coast to be clear. There's no Hive Master threatening to put out cord tokens.
He sees the Essence Warden. He doesn't even have to go through extraordinary lengths to do this.
Nope. There's Nettle Sentinel. That's a mana for Llanowar Elf. And a card.
This one's not something. Okay.
Summoning 6 Llanowar Elf still makes a mana thanks to Birchlore Ranger. Now here's Elves of Deep Shadow. And a card. Taps those 2. Here's Wirewood Symbiote. That'll get a card. And will allow him to pick somebody up to recast him. No Visionaries in the loop yet.
Use Symbiote return.
Looks like he should tap the Llanowar first for mana, right? Because that's the best thing to untap is the non-summoning 6 Llanowar.
Return this.
So Llanowar Elf gets tapped for mana. Untapped by the Symbiote.
Pick up the other elf.
Looks like 2... Oh, there's only 1 elf left in Luis's hand. He's also got his Eternal Witness.
He would love to see...
Second Glimpse. Can he make enough mana to Eternal Witness for it?
No, he needs a Heritage Druid.
Sure. So, plays the Llanowar Elf. Draws Symbiote.
Yeah. Untap.
Symbiote into Birchlore Ranger. So he's drawing a steady stream of elves. That'll keep him going through his library. But he really needs a second glimpse to have any confidence of his ability to dig all the way to Graveshot. It's like both mana and cards are tight in this draw.
Untap.
Okay, here's Birchlore Ranger. Another card. I think that was a Heritage Druid.
It
That's
is a
good
Heritage
news.
Druid, but I don't think he has any more.
Heritage Druid.
Heritage Druid gives him a lot of mana. Ooh, I just saw a red card come off the top.
Oh, but he does have Eternal Witness.
3. Does he have enough mana yet? Nothing's floating. So he can make red and 1, but I don't think the storm count is 20. He can make 3 green, but he's out of creatures.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Eternal Witness.
If he can...
God, he's like 1 mana short. 3 green for Eternal Witness. which untaps the Nettle Sentinel
Glimpse.
and draws him. What did he get?
Birchlar Rangers.
That's good news. Oh, Summoner's Pact he's going to regrow. Sure.
Summoner's Pact.
He's just like one Nettle Sentinel short, right? There's Nettle Sentinel. He just needs to generate red and 1. Right now he can generate 1.5 mana. Just needs to turn a profit of like one untapped creature, and I think Nettle Sentinel will get the job done.
Draw.
There's Nettle Sentinel.
There's another.
And drew another one off the top.
No Sentinel.
That should do it. So Nat untaps 2 Nettle Sentinels, draws him a card. Does he have it yet or
Still
no?
has a Birchlar Ranger in his hand.
So
it's
he can
either
get
count
3
1,
green,
2,
or he
3,
can
4,
get
6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
3 green. Birch Rangers on top.
3 green and a Birchlar Ranger. That should do it.
Yeah.
Now he can get a red,
How many spells is that?
and he's got the green left. So now he just needs the Storm Count at 20. What's the Storm Count at now?
It's right around 17 or 18. I may
5. Go to 4 green. Minerals on top.
Llanowar Elf?
yeah. Well, now we're there. We're there now.
What's the number on the die? Storm Count is 16.
Go to red. Nettle Sentinel on top. Using a green.
More Nettle Sentinels. Okay, mana no longer a problem. He keeps drawing creatures.
There's a Visionary.
Go down to 4. Visionary.
As long as he keeps drawing creatures, he'll keep going. He can run the Storm Count up to 20. 18.
Draw.
2 draws. Creature, Grape Shot, and Louis Scott Vargas is up 2 games to 0. How about that?
Yeah. Double 5.
Thoughtseize clears a path. Turn 3. Plenty of time to Thoughtseize and still win on the 3rd turn. Wow. Luis Scott Vargas, 1 game away from winning the Pro Tour. He's been down 0-2 in each of the previous rounds. What does he do now that he's up? He hasn't been in this situation before. Win? Is that the plan now?
That's clearly the plan. He is a pilot who really understands what his vehicle is capable of.
Well said.
He's just looking at his hands, and he's able to really estimate the percentages,
Right.
take some guesses, and say, this is my window of opportunity. This is my best chance to win right now, and understand what his deck is capable of. That's the result of thousands and thousands of repetitions.
It's true. Both of those, I mean, each of the 2 wins we've watched looked a little tight.
Yeah.
Looked a little sketchy. They've all worked out, though. It seems like he's been in danger of fizzling. It just
And
hasn't.
you know what that really did feel like? That really felt like High Tide to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It definitely had that High Tide kind of like, oh, is he going to get the next card he needs? Is he going to get the next piece he needs?
Right.
Is there another frantic search in there? That was just remarkable.
That's good, yeah.
Wow. Sideboard cards? What sideboard cards? He's going to kill you before they have time to matter.
Well, again, the thing about the Thoughtseize that may be more relevant than even Disruption is just information.
And that is a pilot who can really benefit from the information. What do I need to care about? What do I need to play around? He understands exactly what's going on. Every card's role.
And I think a lot of players might have had the temptation even to. And Madokai did not have anything going.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you looked at
To
his
just
hand.
wait?
I mean, there's a temptation to wait, but something you said to me once: the top of people's decks are filled with good cards on the Pro Tour.
That's true.
Why give him an extra turn? There you go.
All right. Players are shuffling up for game 3. LSV is up 2 games to 0. Matai Zadokai has some work to do.
Worth pointing out that it's work that Luis Scott Vargas is familiar with today, and those can be done.
Birchlar Ranger on the first turn for Zadokai.
Reveals
Luis
the Llanowar
flashes
Elf.
the Llanowar, and once again,
Here comes a Thoughtseize.
Thoughtseize.
There's a Glimpse of
Huge card.
Nature. There's an Essence Warden. There's
3
some
land.
lands.
Wow, that draw is terrible now that it's been deprived of a
Takes
glimpse.
the Glimpse.
Go ahead.
Essence Warden, sure. Canopy.
Again,
He's in like cycle and try to draw card mode, right?
Goes.
Llanowar Elf comes down. Looks like Luis, just the 1 land?
Yep.
Yeah, just the 1 land. So a little bit of a sketchy draw for Luis, but he was able to Thoughtseize on turn 1, which buys him infinite time.
Zadokai cycled a Horizon Canopy there off of his Birchlar Ranger.
And goes in for the attack. Trade?
Gets that Essence
Get rid of
Warden
that
out
Essence
the
Warden.
way.
That thing's annoying. There's Heritage Druid and another Canopy.
Go.
Nettle Sentinel. That guy can block. Your mission is to block. But Luis still on 1 land. Zadokai
Still with
digging
nothing.
desperately. He's gone through a couple of Horizon Canopies. Now he's got a Nettle Sentinel of his own. Birchlar Ranger into Llanowar Elf. Into Elves of the Deep Shadow. Into... Wow, Luis can just play out all the 1-drops in his hand if he wants to. I think maybe he's done. I think he's got more. He may be content.
Return this to untap that.
Well, picks up a Llanowar Elf. Plays an Elves of Deep Shadow. Okay, that's more mana.
Untap.
Here comes another Symbiote.
Return this to untap
Building
that.
up a board.
Yeah, I mean he can pick so many things up with the Symbiote. He doesn't really need creatures in his hand.
Finally.
Just needs some sort of a glimpse. Or even Regal Force at this point, right?
Doesn't have the Heritage Druid.
He's got the other one. He's got Birchlar Ranger.
Untap.
There's Visionary. Draws a card.
It's a Symbiote.
There's a lot of mana on Luis' side of the board. That 1 land draw just exploded thanks to Nettle Sentinel.
Untap this.
And the Symbiotes, they're going to pick up the Visionary and untap a mana creature every time. Throw in Nettle Sentinel, Season to Taste, and he's going to play Visionary like 4 times this turn. And that's even if he doesn't draw a Glimpse.
Play this. Untap this.
Look how crisp his operations are. Yeah. I mean, he's like he's done this 1,000 times. Probably because he has.
Third Symbiote. She's gonna properly mark as being used.
Return this. Untap this.
Picks up the Visionary, untaps Llanowar Elf.
You really get to see what Nettle Sentinel does for you in terms of mana generation.
I think you get to see what Symbiote does for you in terms of mana generation. The Symbiote is the hero right here.
No. I take.
I mean, the Symbiote is
Oh, Visionary?
returning the Visionary to the hand and untapping a Llanowar Elf. I mean, Nettle Sentinel's relevant, clearly. I mean, but the synergy in the deck is really impressive. So, Birchlar comes down. Now here's another Visionary. And is he out of gas finally?
Go.
Plays Giltleaf Palace tapped and looks prepared to ship the turn. Now he can do all of that again next turn. Zadokai is under a tremendous amount of pressure here because he knows, 4 more Visionary activations. Actually, I think it'll be 5 more. Birchlar from Zadokai. Yep. Oh, Luis declined to pick the Visionaries up on Zadokai's turn. I thought he might just want to pick them up an extra time.
Might want to attack here.
Oh, interesting. Attacking into Symbiote is annoying. Attacking into the Nettle Sentinel is annoying.
You're attacking at the Symbiote with Symbiotes.
Fair.
He might not be, though. He might also be
Head go.
No, play lines.
have a... Does he have the green necro?
What's that, the Regal Force?
Yeah.
No, hold on. No, he was on the play. And he
Yeah, it feels like any glimpse, any summoners pack is game here.
Like last.
Even Weird Harvest is game, right?
Before you just put a long tap.
Well, he's got to worry about,
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
does have to worry about
Okay.
Court of Calling.
Is that right? Okay,
Yeah, nothing is fixed so right, but I give you a warning.
Yeah, that's
For
fine.
game violation. Have you received any?
Luis playing extra land?
No, not for game rule violations.
No, not for game violation.
I think I did, because he laid a...
Yeah, he accidentally played 2 lands that turn. Judge has corrected him and chastised him.
Just tell me what you want me to count.
He's trying to figure out if he has enough to play the Regal Force.
Is it in his hand? I haven't seen his
I
hand.
thought it was. Certainly does.
Yeah, he has plenty.
Oh, here's Weird Harvest.
Ah,
5.
Just trying to figure out how much to harvest.
Weird Harvest is XGG.
Yes.
Everybody goes and gets X creatures,
Yes.
which is funny. For all Zadokai's sideboard hate cards, they don't do him any good in his hand.
61 black. Okay.
So this is game 3. Luis Scott Vargas leads 2 games to 0. If he finishes stitching this win together, he is the Pro Tour Berlin champion. $40,000, 25 pro points,
Using the 7 mana.
a title that will precede his name for years to come.
So both.
Yeah.
5.
Right, he's no longer referred to as former U.S. national
All
champion.
right, he becomes Pro Tour champion Luis Scott Vargas. And got to put him in an interesting spot in the Player of the Year race going into Worlds, I would think.
We both search our 5. Face down.
Started on 14, he wasn't having the greatest season of his career, but
Yeah.
It also locks him in for all of next year.
yeah.
I'm just asking.
All right, Weird Harvest is resolving for how many? What's X? It's 4.
Which will be, so that's 5. Probably a couple of Sentinels, a Heritage Druid, and a Regal Force.
Yeah, I would think so. And Zadokai just sets his hand up for next turn if a miracle happens, but no reason to believe a miracle's going to happen. Zadokai basically needs to have Court of Calling in his hand, or he's just a spectator.
I mean, I think we're at the point where even if he had, well, I guess he could go get an Ether Sworn Canonist.
Yeah, if he had, he would be.
But I feel like he would have.
He would have blown it for Pontiff if he had it.
Or for Canonist.
I would think Pontiff. It's not clear that he wins on board. If he ices the board state with Canonist, I think he loses. I think. So no reason to believe Matai Zadokai has a Court of Calling. He much valued
I
his
guess
sideboard
we
cards.
could be counting as he goes through the deck there, but
There you get to see what Luis is getting.
I mean, I'll go through it. Yeah, fine. That's the approach.
Regal Force, Eternal Witness, Nettle Sentinel, and Heritage Druid.
I guess we might as well count spells.
AKA the Fix.
So, yeah, you roll the 5?
Yeah.
Can I see him? Okay.
1 mana. On top.
All right, there's a Nettle Sentinel from Luis.
On top.
There's a Heritage Druid. That's now worth 3 mana.
3 mana. On top.
That's another Nettle Sentinel. No Glimpse. Who needs Glimpse?
Turn this.
Yeah, okay. I don't
Who needs Glimpse when you've got Weird Harvest? There's the handshake. Congratulations, Scott Vargas wins the Pro Tour. Wow. His teammates go racing for the stairs to give him a hug. Congratulations, Luis Scott Vargas. He said he was a dog in the quarters. He said he was a dog in the semis. He said he was a dog in the finals. Now he's a Pro Tour champion.
Just stunning.
Absolutely. That is one great Magic player. LSV, the crowd is chanting his initials. There's the handshake. Very, very happy Magic player right there. And great Magic. I mean, just crisp operations, great deck, great play.
Great foresight.
Sure.
Understanding what his deck was capable of, even if his hand didn't necessarily look like a winning hand to someone who does not have the experience he has with the deck.
Yeah, it's true.
That was just really just a pleasure to watch.
I agree. So, it's funny. One of the things going on at the Pro Tour this weekend in side events was these Planeswalkers journey through the Pro Tour. So, everybody that showed up this weekend got one of these badges. And if you look at the back, there's 20 things that you can do at the Pro Tour, badges to get stamped. This is, really designed to just be, the souvenir of your experience at the Pro Tour. And most of it is aimed at stuff like side events, play in a standard public event, play 7 or more spells in a turn. You're supposed to call the judge over, and the judge...
Did Luis call his opponent or call the judge over?
He should have.
He really should have called the judge over. He played
would've
way
been
more
awesome.
than 7 spells in a
Clearly
turn.
played way more than 7 spells. Win 3 public events, defeat a gunslinger in a game of Magic. Number 20, win Pro Tour Berlin.
Yeah.
Luis is going to be the only guy in the world that gets that stamped on his Planeswalkers journey through the Pro Tour. They'll be doing this again in Memphis, by the way. It's kind of a fun thing.
Yeah, it seems awesome.
That stamp, pretty hard to get.
He did a couple of things on this checklist, by the way.
Yeah.
Deal 20 points of damage in a turn.
Sure.
Deal 10 points of damage in a turn.
Sure.
I don't know if he's controlled a creature with 20 or more power, but he has had more than 10 cards in his hand.
It's true. Win the Pro Tour.
Win the Pro Tour. That's the big one. That's the one that matters.
Wow. I think this Pro Tour is going to be remembered more for LSV's sort of crowning achievement than anything else.
And, I mean, hats off to the super team here. Because this was, a version of the deck that people looked at and said, this is not as good as the other version. They obviously did not know about the other versions. And they're like, no, we knew. We were just building a faster one.
Yeah, they knew about Hivemaster. They knew about Hivemaster to Court of Calling. They knew you could play Essence Warden and try to gain a bunch of life, and they said, I don't want to muck around with that.
They felt like that was
look
just
how good this
wasting time.
combo deck is. I'm going to just win on turn 2. I'm not going to waste my time with Essence Warden, Hivemaster shenanigans.
And we saw Luis in game 2 kill through a turn 1 Essence Warden.
True. It's like, not a big deal. Thoughtseize looked really good, too. Sounds like the guys are ready for the award ceremony downstairs. So,
awesome.
For Brian David Marshall, this is Randy Buehler. We will be back in Memphis. We will see you guys for Worlds. Stay tuned for the award ceremony.
Welcome to the 2008 Pro Tour Berlin Awards Ceremony. Assisting me today is Head Judge Sheldon Menery. First, 2 prizes that have already been awarded. In 4th place, winning $13,000 from Germany, Sebastian Thaler. And in 3rd place, winning $15,000 from Japan, Tomohiro Saito. And now, your finalist, winning $20,000 from the Slovak Republic, Matej Zatlgai. And your 2008 Pro Tour Berlin champion, winning $40,000 from the United States of America, Luis Scott Vargas. Once again, your 2008 Pro Tour Berlin champion, Luis Scott Vargas. And now, completing a Planeswalker's journey through the Pro Tour, there can be only one stamp number 20 for winning Pro Tour Berlin. Sheldon, if you'd like to do the honours. We'd like to thank the staff, the judges and the players who have made this such a memorable event. Join us in December the 11th to the 14th for the Magic World Championship in Memphis, Tennessee in the United States of America. But until we meet again, I'm your host Richard Hagan saying bye.